Hello, hello. Today I'm going to share the only permanent strategy, or rather, the only strategy how to get rid of money fears, financial fears, fears of never enough permanently. Long time ago, I did a or hosted and organized and designed a mega video summit. And the topic was fear busters. Well, obviously, the topic speaks for itself. I invited around 23 guest speakers and I interviewed them on money fears and how to get rid of fears. And so everybody was asked to share some techniques how they deal with fears when they arise. And I've been listening and watching and paying attention, of course, and learning. And what I've learned, what I've observed from people, and by the way, we also not required, but we also ask for participation from our listeners and those who watch the audience. And I've learned that, well, basically, majority of people worry about money, never enough of money. And it doesn't matter if you have no money in the bank whatsoever and consider yourself broke, or you have plenty of money in the bank and you still worry and you still think it's never enough. Why is it that so many people who are so wealthy, they continue working and working and making more and more money, and for some, it's just never enough. I don't want to stereotype everybody. I'm just saying that people are different, and a lot of humans worry about money, and it's never enough. So I am sure you, as a human here on this planet Earth, and I specifically use the term human. If you want to understand why, watch my previous lives and you will know. So anyway, I am sure that at some point of your life you've been worrying, or you still continue worrying about money, that it's never enough. And I even have examples. I have many examples. One of the recent examples, how one of my clients actually texted me out of the blue because she came up with a situation and she was looking at the situation with interesting perspective. And I'm going to read that text that she actually texted me, and I said, "Ooh, I better remember this." So I put it on the card, and now I have it. And so when she came to me, she actually said, "Wealth is all around, but it's not for me." I will never forget that sentence because it applies to so many people. It's been my mantra without knowing it for so long myself. So I know perfectly well how it feels when you feel like wealth is all around, but it's not for me. And even though that's my client, that lady has had always a very, very good income, in my opinion, and she is very well situated in life. She's a professional and she gets this good income, but she came to me worrying about money. It seemed like never enough. And actually, they say, I'm not talking about the client at this second. I'm giving the example how banks, usually people who work at a bank and who know statistics, they know if those people who have higher credit limit on their cards usually have bigger debts, because it's still never enough. Because if they have higher credit limit, that means they have higher income, but they still accumulate higher debts because it's never enough, because expenses grow bigger. If you feel that you have income, you can pay, and so forth, and the cycle continues, and it's never enough and it never stops. So it's like a rat race. You constantly in that circle, in that, like a hamster on a treadmill, trying to catch up with when is it enough. And my conclusion and expertise knowledge says it will never stop. That cycle will never stop, because it's the specific consciousness. It's the specific state of consciousness. And that's something I'm going to talk about. So, this client, we've been working together for a long time, and she's been growing in she's been changing her state of consciousness. And finally, so that's why the text arrived when she said she was recently in a situation with a friend, and the friend was worrying and stressing and complaining to her about her money situation. And she was just, the client was looking at all of that. She couldn't talk to her friend about it because the friend doesn't really understand what we're doing in our program. And so the client looked at all of that and said, this is amazing, because I used to be in my friend's shoes. I used to be like her. I used to worry about money. I used to feel that it's never enough. And now I'm looking at her and thinking, oh my gosh, there is the answer, there is the way. And I'm in an entirely different situation. Her income didn't change. Well, it increased as a professional, it increases, but again, still because of the spiritual work we've done. But the point is, she was never broke before, so there is no point for her not to have not enough, right? And so what she texted me was, being in a space of not stressing about where my money is going to come from, knowing it will always be supplied. This is amazing. So these are golden words. I often cite my clients or quote my clients, because when they say something, it's like a pearl. You better remember. And so I think that's a pearl that I better remember, because this is how people could find the way to be in the space. And this is the strategy I was going to talk about today. And so I want to show you right now. Again, like yesterday in my life, I was talking about two states of consciousness, and one of them is the material consciousness, and the other one is the spiritual consciousness. And on this graphic, there is material consciousness, which is on the bottom. It's the plum color, it's the darkness color, even though I don't say plum is the darkness, but it's darker than the yellow. And so the yellow color is the color of light. The yellow is the light, it's a spiritual consciousness. And so these are two different states of consciousness, different vibrational states. So there is different frequency between the lower state and the high state. And the reason I said that it will never be a state of always enough, always plenty, in a state of consciousness below, because it just, the world is of never enough. This world is the never enough world. And if you don't believe me, go around and look around, because it's never enough. Never enough love, never enough happiness, never enough peace, never enough money, never enough food for some people. For some, it's too much, but never enough in some way. So when you look at your life, you will find plenty of what never enough for you. And the reason is because we are in this material consciousness, and the consciousness states, it's like a rule, or well, it's a vibrational state when it's never enough. So no matter how much you scramble, how much you hustle, how much whatever you do, it will never be enough. And the upper top is the when it's plenty, because it's a different supply, it's a different supply chain, as they say in logistics, right? So it's very different, and it's a different vibrational state when it is always enough. And it doesn't mean you will be completely surrounded with gold around you, money around you, but you will feel that it's enough. So the matter is about feeling, because when you feel deeply inside that you have enough, no matter what you have outside, you will be at peace, you will not worry, and consequently, you will be provided. Things, money, circumstances, people will start showing up out of nowhere to make sure that you do have enough. So it starts from within, and it's a state of consciousness. So when I said at the beginning of this live about the summit I've done, I was interviewing when I said I was interviewing people, and they would tell me about how they deal with fears and share their techniques. I kept I couldn't help myself but thinking, why do you have to even worry about those techniques if you actually can get rid of those fears permanently, that they don't even arise? It's not a simple answer, it's not a simple way, but there is a way. But many people are not aware of it. And so this is the only strategy. And the strategy is, I do believe that when you don't want something in your life, you can change it, and you can change it permanently. You don't have to continuously feeling those fears, worrying, and so forth, and just being in the state for the rest of your life, which is majority of people will be. It will never change. So what is the way? Well, the way is to transfer yourself, or to leave the material consciousness. You have to, I know it's not an easy answer, but I am here to share it because I found this way, and I am actually sharing because people need to know that we need to leave the state of the material consciousness and move into the spiritual consciousness. So it's just a matter of changing the set of beliefs inside, but it is the path and it is the journey. And only this way, when the more beliefs you clear, the more feelings you clear, the more thoughts inside you clear, you change your vibrational frequency goes up, you yourself travel up the chakras until you arrive in the chakra of light, which is the fourth chakra. And the fourth chakra starts the spiritual consciousness. In that spiritual consciousness, when you are in the spiritual consciousness, you will be standing next to the person who is in physical consciousness or material consciousness, and you will have a very, very different perception of the world and everything around you. Your world will be so much more peaceful, more happier, and so forth. And that person's world will be turbulent and never enough, and a lot of worries. Because again, everything in your life is dictated by the state of consciousness. No matter what you do, no matter what you try, how you change, it's the matter of consciousness. Change your consciousness, you will change your world. And in the material consciousness, this is how we look like. There is no light, light is hidden, light is entombed, and the male and female inside of us, soul and the human part, are separated. And that's not a very nice place to be in, but that's the material consciousness. And because of all that, making money the traditional way, the muggle way, is hard. You do have to climb. It feels heavy, it feels very, very like molasses, they say. It's fear and hustle and worry, and it's never enough. Because look at this, it's dangerous. It's not dangerous for us to make money, but it is hard. It is based on fear and worry that we don't have enough. And the state of spiritual consciousness is a very different state. Again, I will show you here back to this, compare this one with the other image. Big difference. This is no light, very dark, and also separated from each other. Here, they actually all in alignment. They are together. They are in the light because we have human who is purified and clean and just has no bad issues inside, and the soul whose light is restored, and of course the divine that they found along the way, because they know who actually supplies. And actually, maybe tomorrow I will be talking about who actually supplies in the spiritual consciousness. And so the spiritual consciousness dictates the green light flow, I call it. The green light, if you imagine you driving and green light is all the way, sometimes miracle happens, right? When I go at 5 a.m. to the pool, just whole time green light. That's amazing. How does it happen? But it does. And it just move. You hardly ever stop, and you just go, and you get to your destination much faster and much easier way, and without any frustration, because you just were given green light. And it's not you who create who well, it's not you consciously that you create this green light. It's your vibrational state again. And therefore, to transfer or to leave the material consciousness and to move to the spiritual consciousness, you invited to find out how to do it. And I'm going to tell you about my upcoming event that, first of all, you will discover your true purpose in this lifetime. And I'm not talking about your vocational part, your business, your career. I'm talking about why the heck you live here. Why were you born? Why you here? What the heck you need to do here? And a lot of people don't even ask that question, or if they ask, they don't get the answer. And you need to know, because you have to fulfill that purpose. Learn how to achieve the spiritual mastery of the material world. Even though you're in a material consciousness, well, it's good to have spiritual knowledge to deal with each situation in a very different way. Acknowledge your inner calling. Something is there inside. It's calling you. It's been calling you whole life. You either ignored it, or you didn't even notice it because it's already there. You got used to it. You don't know the answer. And of course, it's there. It's imperative that you answer that inner calling. And so my event is called Divine Wealth, the inner journey home to freedom and power. And home means the spiritual state of consciousness. We are moving into the very different state of consciousness from the material world, never enough. And from this state where majority of humans live, majority of people exist, to this when you know who you are, you find yourself, you uncover yourself. As one of my clients said recently in an interview, she said, when I asked her, did you become a different person from working with me? And she said, yes, I did. However, I would describe it as I found myself, because before I was just a shell of myself. And now I found myself. I know who I am. And that's a very good feeling. So, again, I'm quoting my clients because that was golden, in my opinion. And so, from that state to this state, finally finding divine, aligning all three, the Trinity is in order and it's operational, it's working. And therefore, everything in life is changing, because when you have this alignment inside of you, well, do you think you will continue struggling with money fears and worries and all of that plagues you right now in the material reality? I don't think so, because you will have the powerful ally to help you. So, these are very good goals, high achievements, but you would say, I just want to change my life now. I'm not thinking about these big aspirations. Okay, well, as you are on the big aspiration, you actually take full control over your event, drama, situations, because that's the mastery, spiritual mastery. And then how to change people without saying a word to them. Well, guess what client after client after client says actually demonstrates how we change other people without saying a word to them. It's actually quite fascinating. How to heal permanently. All the medication, all the things that start destroying our body by the time we get older, well, they're not necessary, because you can heal yourself permanently. And then, of course, how to get rid of all the money fears permanently, which I've discussed today, right now. How to get rid of imposter syndrome, fear of failure, fear of success, inner saboteur. These are all internal issues, and they come for a spiritual reason. You feel them for a spiritual reason. How do you get rid of them permanently? Not just having a mindset that, yes, I can overcome it, but then it'll come again. How to feel harmonious and peaceful at all times. Enough is enough of struggling and being tired. How to grow business and live life in the flow. And that can only be possible in the spiritual consciousness. Or get more and more glimpses of that, get more and more situations like that when you're in transition. And of course, I always add divine guidance signs because that's the first requirement to be on a journey, of course. So, to summarize everything, how to achieve spiritual mastery over the material world, how to stop hustling and get into the flow. And we call it from the muggle way into the mystic way. And of course, how to partnership with the divine permanently in order to achieve that trinity inside. And the dates are October 20th through 22nd. Plenty of time to make plans. Friday through Sunday, 3 full days. It's an immersive virtual experience of inner transformation. Right now, it's only $97. The price will go up, but right now it's 97. Register irinabaker.com/wealth, unless you have another link that my clients or friends supplied, then please use that link. So, Divine Wealth, the inner journey home to freedom and power, irinabaker.com/wealth. It will change your life. It will change everything. It will change your incarnation and it will change your destiny. And I say it because I have 28 years of experience that changed my life, my destiny, my incarnation, and my future existences. And so, if you want to know that, you better hurry up and sign up. And I guess that's it. And please remember that when you follow the divine money will follow you. When you serve the divine, money will serve you. Until we meet again, goodbye.